Hello, I'm Anthony, and this is my submission for the AI for All hackathon. So we can start by covering what I'm going to go over in this presentation and demo. Just going to talk a little bit about who we are as an netonomy, the problem that we're looking to solve, and how we're going about doing that. So here's an overview of the team. I'm Anthony, the founder and CEO. Brian Sander is our vice president, and Megan Karras is our marketing director. So when logging on the internet today, we're essentially logging into Google, Meta, Apple, or Amazon. So the web is essentially controlled by these centralized organizations that control both our digital identity and our data. So basically when we log into the internet, we have all these different identities that tie us. So we have our Google identity, we have our Facebook identity that ties us to Instagram, we have our Twitter identity. And then these big platforms essentially rent us our identity and then store all of our data for us, which is bad because then they're the ones in control of it. So they can delete us off the internet. They can stop showing our content. They can delete our data, even if it's really important and things like that. So how can we fix this? What's a possible solution? Instead of the client server model that exists on the internet today, what if we transfer it to everyone else becoming their own server themselves and being able to provide their own identity to applications that they use and also being able to provide the data to applications that they use? So instead of, it could kind of be like a paradigm shift. Instead of logging into applications and applications storing all of our information and creating our digital identity, what if when we go into application, we bring our identity with us and we bring our data, and then any data that we use in that application can be stored in our own server? So there's some technologies that are coming about to allow for this to happen. The first one being decentralized identifiers, which allow us to have our own unique identifier that identifies who we are in this new decentralized world. So instead of having a login with Google, login with Apple, we can have our own identifier that no one else can take away from us. We're in full control of it, based on cryptography and things of that nature. And then we can go into applications and bring our identity with us. And then how about things like verifiable credentials? How will people know who we are? It won't just be this long decentralized identifier string that looks like a URL that will tell people who we are. It'll be more so about what other people say about us. Kind of like in the real world, how when we go to a bar, we need to show an ID, and then they can verify from that ID that we're over 21 and maybe we're from the state of New York. The same type of thing can happen in the digital realm, where we store these verifiable credentials and tie them to our decentralized identifiers. So we could have our own identifier that identifies us, and then we could have credentials tied to that identifier, such as where we went to college, what job we worked for, maybe even a video game achievement or things of that nature. And then instead of storing all of our data on these centralized servers, we can have our own decentralized web node and store all of our data there. So here's a quick image of what this new future could look like. So instead of the past, there being a single centralized server and us clients just going to it and having access to all of our data there, how about we could do more of what the internet was intended to be, this decentralized network where we could then talk to each other from our decentralized web nodes and interact with these applications in a really cool way. So now let's get into a bit of the demo and show what I've worked on to bring this to life. So here's the netonomy application. I'm using WebLN to log in. So if I hit login, I'm going to see this pop up from my Alby wallet to connect my L&D node. And then I'll also see a pop-up to connect my Nostr node. So you're going to want to make sure you have a WebLN wallet that has both Lightning enabled and Nostr to store your private keys. And then you can log right in. And then I can create my profile. So go ahead and upload a banner image. Get that nice netonomy logo in there. Choose a profile image. And then enter my name. And again, I'm going to allow it to remember my public key from Nostr and then sign it. So boom, I just published my Nostr profile to the Nostr network. And also those images were not stored in some public database, or I'm not storing them in the netonomy server. Those images were actually stored in a decentralized web node that was created right here in the browser. So when you logged in, I used WebLN to connect to your Lightning wallet, and then I also used a decentralized data identifier and created a decentralized web node right in the browser. So now we can actually interact with that decentralized web node as well. So I can go over to storage, and I can see I have no files uploaded here yet. So I could just pick some. I could upload a PDF. I could upload anything really, JSON, a turtle file. I could upload some images. How about the ones we just used for the banner and profile image? And then I can actually view these images in a nice carousel. And how about some videos? And you can see these uploads are really quick because it's just storing right in our decentralized web node stored in the browser. And then you can actually have a decentralized web node that lives in the cloud, and it'll sync all of your data together. And here's a nice video player as well. And now we can go back home. So now we can tie in AI as well. So here I have my AI agent ready to chat. So I can just say hello. And now I can see I'm being charged some Bitcoin for this transaction. So I'm hitting an API that I created that uses L402 payments around the OpenAI API. So I don't need any OpenAI keys here, just pay some Bitcoin, and then I get some access to the API. And then also, how about I can see I have this published job for Noster's feed. So my AI agent actually has some tools to interact with the Nostr network to go ahead and publish a job using NIP90, saying that I want an algorithmic Nostr feed. So I can pay to interact with my AI agent, who's then going to post this job on Nostr. So boom, post the job, and boom, already we have an algorithmic feed. So I can, there's another one. So I can see I can pay for a trending events feed. I can look at a Bitcoin feed. So I want to check out some trending events on Nostr and see what's going on. So I'll pay 1 sat to be able to access this feed from my data provider. And boom, I can see up at the top, we've got Jack Dorsey, 632 reactions. And nice. Now I've got a nice feed. I can get a sense of what's kind of going on in Nostr. And maybe we might as well, let's check it out, what's going on in the Nostr realm of Bitcoin. And nice. Now I can see a bunch of tweets on the Nostr network about Bitcoin that have been occurring recently. I can stay all up to date on the Bitcoin news. So right there, I used my AI agent to publish a job out on the Nostr network to ask for a job request for anyone to complete it. And then we went ahead and someone completed these chats and gave us some algorithmic feeds, one of Bitcoin and one of the trending events. And then I can actually show what's going on the back end. So basically this is that server that's behind everything. So this server, so here's the AI agent. When I try to make a request to it, I'll see I get a L402 response. So I need to pay this Lightning invoice, and then I would be able to access this using L402, and I could put in those authentications right over here. And then also on this server is running a data vending machine, so it's actually watching for job requests for an algorithmic feed, and then it returns and posts the Nostr network, that Bitcoin feed and the trending events feed as well. So what's next for netonomy? I would like to shift to a Chrome extension or a mobile app so that instead of using Alby, it would be netonomy, and we would store decentralized identifiers would be the key. And then you could tie in your Lightning node, and you could tie in your decentralized web nodes right there. And then I would also want to make a full Nostr client and then create an AI that has access to these Nostr accounts, Lightning, and your decentralized web node. And then I also want to implement verified credentials and things like direct messages from your DWN to someone else's DWN. So not sending direct messages over Nostr, but instead using directly from DWN to DWN so that there's no intermediary at all. And then things like storing contacts and custom profiles. And if you want to get more information on this, you can look in a Figma link in my AI for All blog posts, and you can see some designs for that there. So big picture, I really want netonomy to be this portal to this new decentralized world where we help users or people, not users, and organizations have control over their digital identity, their data, and their finances. So thank you very much. And if you have any more questions or information, feel free to reach me here. Thank you.